So instead of going from game to game to game, because there's a lot of them, it's super wild card weekend. It's the NFL's fun way of advertising the fact that they have more games, more advertisements, more Burger King commercials. If you're into that, there's actually been a big nationwide takeover of the Whopper thing. It's annoying, but it's so catchy at the same time. So they're doing a little bit of an advertising return. Burger King is trying to get back into the business, but that's not what we're talking about today. So I'm going to do my three big takeaways from Wildcard Weekend. There was a lot of great games, couple snoozers, not really trying to out the Seahawks there in any way, but that was the expected snoozer of the weekend. And then we had the Bucks and the Cowboys where Prescott played the game of his life, but that's not the one we're going to focus on. I want to start with Cincinnati and Baltimore. And not necessarily talking about the game, I want to take a quote from J.K. Dobbins, and I'm going to just take the one that everyone's focusing on. We would have won this game with Lamar Jackson. Now, whether that's true or not, the Ravens have a phenomenal roster, and they kept Cincinnati really in this. I think this was a game where people thought, okay, Cincinnati, especially going against Tyler Huntley, this might be one where you see kind of the Bengals with the playoff experience, Burrow fresh off of a Super Bowl run. Okay, they've been here, they've done that. This is a matchup they should win and handle pretty easily. But the Ravens came to play, especially on defense, creating chaos for Joe Burrow, especially with that offensive line that's having to start with, believe they're out three starters, which makes the mixing and matching for Cincinnati and Zach Taylor. It's going to make it a very interesting combination. Jackson Carman, and if you see the stuff around, if you're watching on YouTube, the Clemson aspect of that, I think is pretty cool that he's going to get another shot to kind of prove himself in this level. But that's not really the discussion. We would have won with Lamar Jackson. And they, like I said, the Ravens came to play in this one. With hindsight being 2020, could they have won? Does Lamar Jackson fumble at the 1 yard line on a QB sneak and have Sam Hubbard go and take it for over 90 yards for a touchdown? We don't know. We will really never know. The question is, where is Lamar Jackson going? And I think it's important to see it from both sides. Lamar Jackson, who's representing himself, had an opportunity to sign a mega contract, but I think with the Deshaun Watson numbers that were presented, he wanted and felt like he deserved those numbers as well. I think it was around $50 million a year that he wanted, and the Ravens were offering, I think, south of that. I don't know the whole details on that, but I know that there was a agreement on both sides, or there was a negotiation on both sides to try to get something going so they wouldn't have to worry about it at this point in time. So now Lamar Jackson is one of the more fascinating and intriguing stories of the offseason. Where is he going? Where is he headed? I don't know. I think I have my top candidates, and I think there's a reasonable expectation that he will probably take time to make a decision. So for the Ravens, you got to look at it this way. The last two seasons, the Ravens were 8-3 last year with a chance to be the number one seed in the AFC. Again, phenomenal roster. John Harbaugh, fantastic coach. There's a lot of, and if I messed up the Harbaughs, apologies. I always get them confused, and I will probably, I don't know. But anyways, with the roster intact that the Ravens have, it would be wise for them to re-sign Lamar Jackson. The question is, how much are they willing to offer? It's kind of like this seesaw affair where, yes, they are better with Lamar Jackson, but at what cost is it going to make? Because the last two seasons, Lamar Jackson, they're 8-3 in the first seed in the AFC. Lamar gets hurt. He misses the last 6 games. They finish 8-9, and they miss the playoffs. This year, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the AFC playoff hunt. Lamar gets hurt. They lose a good portion of their games, including the playoff game, where they had a phenomenal roster, made some moves to get guys like Roquan Smith to really solidify that defense, an area where they felt they were weaker at. That's really improved the speed of that Ravens front seven. There you kind of look at it. There's leverage for both sides I have, and we actually had this discussion. I had it with Patrick last night on Cover 2. And if you're listening to us on Thursday, we had this discussion on Tuesday. But if you're listening on Wednesday, it's a whole confluence of things. There's a discussion to be had on both sides. I, for one, believe the Ravens probably would be smart to pay Lamar Jackson, given that it's not a guarantee whatever first-round quarterback they would choose to draft was going to be a home run pick like Lamar Jackson. It's not a guarantee that you'll find another quarterback with that style that can translate as well into the NFL. It's always a question mark. You never are sure when you're going to be able to hit on the next guy again. That's a question to be probably played in Jackson's favor. But I think for the Ravens, there's reasonable doubt that he's going to be able to stay healthy for the rest of his career. Now, maybe he plays 15 games. Maybe he plays 16 and rests the final one, and he's just a little banged up from here or there. But there is that reasonable doubt on both sides. Can Lamar play at an MVP level and stay healthy? Can the Ravens afford to let Lamar Jackson go? It's good with the old saying, if you won't pay me, somebody else will. Now, in terms of who, I'm not necessarily sure. My first guess would be maybe the New York Jets. A lot of salary cap to play with, had one of their best seasons in years despite being last in the division. Just need that quarterback. Now, maybe they go in a Derek Carr direction. Maybe they try to win the Brady sweepstakes that will eventually come up. It's not necessarily air. Now, I know if you're listening, my friend who is a big Falcons fan, I'm also going to shout out Reed in this one. There is a intriguing destination with the Atlanta Falcons. They play a similar offense to Baltimore. They're in a much weaker division, and they're probably willing to cough up the money considering they have a ton of salary cap to spend, and they have a lot of weapons on offense to play with. Algier, Patterson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Maybe Arthur Smith finally has the quarterback to where he goes, okay, I can use these weapons now. It's a very intriguing conversation. I would love to see it. I would love to see Lamar Jackson in that kind of division, especially being close to Clemson. I would totally go to a game just to watch Lamar play in a football game. You obviously can draw the comparisons of Michael Vick, and you could potentially sell a pitch to him. And I think he'll listen. I think there's going to be a very interesting discussion when we get to March of where he ends up. Could the Ravens franchise tag him? Do they sign him long term? Could they meet in the middle and maybe sign a 2 to 3 year deal where they go, okay, maybe we just got to see a little more on the health side? Because there's no doubt when Lamar Jackson is healthy, he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. The health, though, is the issue. Availability is the best ability. And it's something Lamar Jackson's starting to lose slowly and slowly. Okay, in another sense, and let me just sit up real quick. Daniel Jones. This weekend was about prove it or lose it for some of these quarterbacks. Daniel Jones was one of them, and he did it in a phenomenal way. I've never truly seen it like this, where a quarterback struggles for a lot of his career, and especially at the beginning where it was turnovers. It was just kind of a lack of awareness in the pocket for him. And he has this really big breakthrough this year. We got to give Brian Dable a lot of credit. But I think the big takeaway is now you have a discussion. The Giants, and I had this conversation, it's about a completely other thing, but how much they win in the playoffs could determine how big of a payday he can command. Let's say the Giants go on a Super Bowl run. How much do you pay a Super Bowl winning quarterback, potentially a Super Bowl appearance quarterback, when they went 4-13 the prior year with the same guy? They go, hey, it's the improvement, it's the transition. I was able to weather the storm and be better because of it. Daniel Jones had over 300 yards passing, over 70 yards through the air. He was able to do it with his arm or with his legs. He really exploited a weakness with the Vikings defense that I haven't seen in a long time. And not necessarily because I think the Vikings defense is good. It looked just really pedestrian for a 13-4 team. We've seen the negative point differential. It was on full display where the Vikings put up 24 points, which in most cases you can win against an offense in the Giants that's not known for explosive plays, not known for having these long, consistent, sustaining drives down the field. The Giants put up 31 points, and that wasn't because of some cheap pick six or a kickoff return. The Giants earned these drives. These weren't 4-play, 75-yard drives. These were 18 plays, 9-minute drives where they drove down the field. They were methodical. Daniel Jones made good decisions with the football. This was a Giants team that has a recipe, and seems like if they can go into Philadelphia and do the exact same thing, now I don't think they're going to put up 31 points on the road against a really good Eagles defense, but they've got a formula now that they can really work with. Even let's take the Philadelphia run, and let's just take the Giants potentially going to the Super Bowl and having a crazy run out of the window. There's a lot of momentum there they can take from that Minnesota game going, okay, we can have these 18-play, 15-play, 14-play drives because we can get Saquon established. The offensive line is getting better. Daniel Jones with play action. He's making good decisions. He's not erratic in the pocket. He's taking care of the football. There's a lot where one game can change everything. And it looks like the Giants may have their groove in their formula, even if they don't go and have a success in Philadelphia. I'm excited to see where this team goes, especially when you look at the division, the way things are panning out. Does Jalen Hurts have a consistent back-to-back year? What do the Commanders do? And what's the situation with Dallas? Are they going to stay consistent? It's all really how this division always plays out in the NFC East is who can stay consistent. Philadelphia, it always up and then it's down. For Dallas, it's up and it's down. For the Commanders, it's whatever Dan Snyder's doing that day. So I think that there's a lot of potential with this team to succeed in a division that's always extremely volatile. I'm really excited to see where this goes. And like I said, one game can change everything. Okay, the final one. Now, in the summer, we did a prediction series where I said that the Chargers would finish last in the division. Now, I like to swing, and sometimes I'm going to miss. I don't play baseball, but I know that it's difficult when you got a night. You have a fat. You basically, what I did was I put DeGrom, and I'm for you baseball guys. I'm making a baseball reference, so everyone calm down. Don't go throw an overboard or something like that. But it's like I was pretty much putting on a blindfold and letting DeGrom throw a fastball at me. I wasn't going to hit. I really set up myself for failure there because I picked Justin Herbert to finish last in the division. Probably not my smartest move, but I had my reasons for it. And mainly, it wasn't because of the roster that they had built, which is fantastic, by the way. It's because of the guy leading that charge in Brandon Staley. 27-0 in the playoffs against a first-time quarterback. Now, Justin Herbert was a first-time quarterback too, but the Chargers have it was such a bad matchup for the Jaguars. The pass rush, Justin Herbert, despite Mike Williams being out. It was a tough road ahead for the Jaguars, being down 27-0. The running game really wasn't kicking. It really wasn't doing too much. It had to be all on Trevor, throwing 4 interceptions. Does he stay in this mental groove? How does that affect the second half? The Jaguars go in 27-7. They have one of those drives you could really chalk up as, 2-minute. Things are moving quickly. They're able to kind of not think about it. And I think for Brandon Staley, the thing that has really separated him as a coach in the NFL is his willingness to be kind of the crazy one. And I think this was on part of my take. They made a really good segment about this. Brandon Staley is willing to be the crazy guy. He's on his own 25. I'll go for it on 4th down. We're at the 36. I'm not too sure. Let's go for 7. He wanted to be ultra aggressive, and he wanted to kind of put his offense in a position to succeed. He goes, hey, I have Justin Herbert, a top 5 talent in this league. Why not go for it on 4th and 5? Give my quarterback a chance to put us up in these situations. Let's take 7 over 3. If someone should make a hat about it. They have the run the darn ball hat. But hey, 7-3 might be even better. And I thought Brandon Staley really shied away from what made him unique as a head coach. Very, very conservative. The best moment that I can point to, they're up 30-20 with about 6 minutes to go. If you have an opportunity, if you go for it on 4th and 4 on you're on the plus side of the field. You're in field goal range, but at the same time, you have an opportunity to get 7 here and put Jacksonville away. 33-20 is still a 2-possession football game. Jacksonville would be still in it regardless. It's a win for the defense to get a stop here. You go for it on 4th down. Not only if you succeed in that conversion, you take time off the clock from the Jaguars. Even if you end up failing again and having to kick the field goal, you potentially waste a minute and a half, which in this game, every second counted. Or the other option is you go up 38-20, and you put this game on ice, and you go, okay, we're good. It's done. Brandon Staley was uncharacteristically conservative, and that's what I can't stand. I think that for the Chargers, they fired Joe Lombardi, and they're going to probably take that step as kind of, hey, this is going to probably be the year for you to figure it out. But I think Brandon Staley, you add the Mike Williams disaster, which I did say on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter for all my coverage for Clemson Athletics. But what I said about Mike Williams, who is a game changer on offense, you take him out. And then the disaster that folds up. Does Mike Williams make a big 3rd down catch that shaves off 2 minutes and puts the Jaguars out of it? I don't know. But in the end, I think Staley's made these decisions here and there where they just can't get out of their own way. And I said it in the summer, and I'm so happy about it, but I'm so frustrated because a talent like Justin Herbert is being held back in Los Angeles right now, even with the great roster they have. If Brandon Staley's their head coach, they aren't sniffing a Super Bowl anytime soon. You can count on it. All right, guys, I'm going to take a short break, and then when I get back, we're going to talk about Garrett Riley. The dust has settled, and what are my thoughts on the matter? Thank you, guys. Be right back.